At a tense family dinner, my father stared at me and declared, "You're not welcome here anymore." My mother quickly chimed in, "Exactly." For a fleeting moment, I thought they were joking, but their cold expressions confirmed they meant it. I stayed calm and responded, "Fine, then I'm done covering your rent." Their faces paled instantly. That night, I walked out. The next day, I'm writing this because I need to process it somewhere. I'm not seeking pity. I just need to release this weight. I'd been bottling up my frustration for months, and that moment shattered what little patience I had left. Maybe some of you understand what it's like to feel like an outsider in the place you're supposed to call home, constantly reminded you owe something just for being there. If you've been through it, you get it. Here's the backstory. 2 years ago, my parents lost their home. They never shared the full details, but the gist is they sold it before the bank could foreclose. My mother framed it as a savvy move. My father, however, pointed fingers at everyone but himself. With the sale proceeds, they rented a modest apartment in our hometown. For a time, they managed with the funds they had. I was living in another city, working a solid job. I wasn't rich, but I was scraping by, though the high cost of living was draining my savings. My rent was over $3,000 a month. Then, without warning, my company laid off half its employees, including me, with no severance. I stayed in the city, searching for work. Nothing came up. My savings dwindled. Moving back home felt like defeat, but I had no choice. My parents offered a deal. I could live with them until I was stable again. They even said it'd be nice to have the family together. I believed them, but their offer wasn't kindness, it was a business deal. The moment I arrived, they made it clear I wasn't there out of their generosity. They demanded $2,300 a month, more than half the rent, far exceeding what I'd paid for my own place years before. I agreed, not wanting handouts. I just needed a temporary fix. The deal was I'd cover most expenses, electricity, internet, groceries. I did so without protest. My mother occasionally cooked, but each meal felt like a show, as if I should grovel for it. My father did nothing, lounging like a lord, ordering me to clean or handle chores, treating me like a kid dodging responsibilities. They never once thanked me or acknowledged that my contributions kept them afloat. Instead, they acted like I was mooching off them. It got so bad I stopped confiding in my brothers. I was ashamed. I told myself to endure a few more months and I'd be free. Then came the family dinner. My brothers, their spouses, my aunt, and uncle were all there. I covered the entire meal, turkey, wine, most of the sides. My mother took all the credit. I stayed silent, just trying to survive the evening. At first, it felt normal. Everyone was chatting, laughing. But after too many drinks, my father stood, raised his glass, and announced, "You're not welcome here anymore." I scanned the room, hoping it was a cruel prank, but my mother's smug, "Exactly," confirmed it. I didn't react immediately. I just stared at her. My brothers were quiet. My aunt looked horrified. Finally, I leaned back and said, "Fine, then I'm done paying rent." The room fell silent. Their smug looks faded as they realized they depended on me more than I did on them. My brother Tyler asked what I meant about rent. When I explained how much I'd been paying, his jaw dropped. My other brother, Chris, looked livid. My uncle chuckled and said, "You've been paying to be disrespected?" My aunt turned to my mother, asking if it was true. Tyler pulled me aside and offered me a place to stay, no rent, no strings. I didn't hesitate. After everyone left, I packed my bags and left without a word to my parents. I thought it was over. I had a new place, a fresh start, no ties to them. But I'd forgotten something. I'd hidden $20,000 in cash in my old bedroom closet, my emergency fund. I'd never told anyone about it. 2 days later, I returned to retrieve it. I didn't call ahead, not wanting to hear excuses. I used my key to enter. My mother appeared instantly, demanding, "Why are you here?" I said I was grabbing my remaining belongings. She blocked my path, saying, "You're not allowed here anymore." I ignored her and went to my old room. The closet was wide open. The money was gone. I searched everywhere, under the bed, behind shelves, in drawers. Nothing. I confronted my mother, asking where the bag was. She shrugged, saying we tossed it. Just old junk. I kept my voice steady. There was $20,000 in that bag. Cash. I want it back. She didn't flinch. Then my father appeared in the doorway. I repeated myself. The money was mine. I wasn't leaving without it. He stared at me and said, "It's ours now. You owe us for everything we've done." That's when it hit me. They hadn't found the money by accident. They'd searched for it after I left. I asked one final time. My father said, "Leave, or we'll call the police." I didn't argue. I walked out, drove away, my hands trembling so much I could barely hold the wheel. Back at Tyler's, he saw something was wrong. I didn't want to talk, but he pressed. Eventually, I spilled everything, the money, their words. He looked stunned, then asked, "What can we do?" I had no proof the money existed, no photos, no receipts, no bank records. But Tyler wouldn't drop it. He started making calls. Legal aid, friends familiar with property law, even a friend who'd studied law. Chris joined in, quieter but clearly furious. We agreed it was theft, but proving it wasn't simple. Tyler suggested a lawyer. I doubted it would help, but I agreed. A week later, we met a friend of a friend who didn't charge for the first consultation. I explained everything, my stay, the payments, the agreement, the stolen $20,000. The lawyer listened, then asked, "Can you prove the money existed?" I couldn't, no photos, no texts, nothing. He said it'd be tough. Without evidence, the police wouldn't act. A lawsuit would be my word against theirs. But Tyler pushed forward, asking what we could do. The lawyer advised documenting everything, bank statements, proof of residency, payment records. I had some evidence. Bank transfers, utility bills in my name. It wasn't much, but it was a start. We decided to file in small claims court for the $20,000. Even if we didn't win, it would force them to respond. Tyler helped me compile everything, bank records, payment apps, text screenshots where they'd asked for money. The more I gathered, the angrier I became. There were messages from my mother. "Can you handle rent this month?" Or, "We need help with utilities." I'd never said no. Chris came over one night while I was sorting it all. He brought beer, sat down, and said softly, "I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was this bad." I didn't know how to respond. I wasn't proud of it. Then Chris said something that chilled me. After I'd left, my mother mentioned they finally had some financial relief. He hadn't thought much of it then, but now it made sense. They hadn't just taken the money, they'd spent it, assuming I'd never return for it. Tyler filed the court papers a week later. The hearing was set for 3 months out. We had them served formally, no drama, just a legal notice on their door. I expected a call, maybe threats or bargaining. Nothing. Complete silence. Not a word to me, Tyler, or Chris. That's when I knew they were nervous, not of the court, but of exposure. 2 weeks later, my father called from a blocked number. The court date came on a dreary, rainy morning. We arrived early. I was anxious, not about losing, but because suing my parents felt unreal. They showed up acting casual, like it was a minor errand. My mother wore a fake serene expression. My father looked indifferent. They didn't look at me or my brothers. When the judge asked for their defense, my father said 5 words I'll never forget: "We have no defense." That was it. No denial, no excuses. The judge ruled in my favor. $20,000 plus court costs, totaling $25,000. My parents showed no emotion. They left without a glance. 3 weeks later, a check arrived. No note, no apology, just my name scrawled on an envelope. I cashed it immediately. The money was back, but what I'd lost wasn't just cash, it was the last shred of belief in who my parents were. I thought it was done. Then, 6 weeks later, my aunt and uncle hosted a family barbecue. They'd stayed out of the conflict, acting like nothing happened. I almost skipped it, but curiosity won. It was a mistake. My parents were there, laughing as if all was well. When I arrived, my mother looked at me like I was a stranger. My father gave a curt nod. I kept quiet. Then my mother stood, tapped her glass, and gave a speech about family unity. She stared at me and said, "It's time you apologize for dragging us to court over a misunderstanding." The yard went silent. I stood to leave. My father muttered, "Always running away, huh?" Tyler and Chris lost it, yelling, calling them thieves. My mother screamed that we'd turned against her. My aunt finally snapped, berating my parents for their treatment of me. I left amid the chaos. My aunt texted later, "You were right to go. I'm sorry. There's no happy resolution here. No reconciliation. Some people reveal their true selves, and all you can do is accept it." A week later, my parents doubled down. My mother posted a distorted version of events online, portraying herself as a martyr and me as an ungrateful child. My father even tried to secretly put their lease back in my name. The landlord called me to verify. When I explained, he was floored. I don't know what they're trying to achieve. Maybe they think their lies will rewrite reality. But it doesn't matter. I have the court documents. I have the truth. And they'll never be part of my life again.